All right, Facebook, we are back. Mr. Gbenga with Go Global and myself, Bernice, with Loma Creative Services. And we're going to be discussing the importance of identity strategy before website design. Of course, Mr. Gbenga, your expertise is the identity strategy, and my expertise is the website design. And together, we're going to teach you guys the importance of identity strategy before the website design. So first, I want to introduce, or hey Wanda, I see you back on. Please introduce yourself, Mr. Gbenga, and who or what is Go Global?
Hi everyone, my name is Gbenga Ogunjimi. I am the identity strategist at Go Global Inc. Go Global Inc. is the brand name, is my personal brand, and is the enterprise in which I do business. At the core of this business is we help people elevate their story, whether that be individuals, organizations trying to define their brand identity and tell a story that activates the tribe. So that is what the organization does. We host events across the country as well as internationally. And at the core of this event, as I said, is the power, how to unleash the power of one's identity to create the opportunities one is seeking in life.
That sounds good. So, you know, sometimes where you have a client or someone that might say, you know, I want, even if they might not want a website, they might want a logo or they might want certain things. How do you describe identity strategy so that it's explainable or understandable?
Well, pretty much as the title of this talk, the back end of the website, and pretty much all the foundations that go into erecting or constructing a website on the strategic point of view perspective. And so a lot of people want to go into personal branding or telling the organization story or marketing or sales. And people are very quick to jump into, I want to create my own logo. I want to hire a professional photographer to have a fabulous photo shoot. And I want to like go on this website and create something shiny and something beautiful, but not so much thought and strategy into the identity component of things. That is where I come in as an identity strategist. So I can tell a little bit of a story, how I got into this field and how and why this is very important. Would that be okay, Bernice?
Yes, please do.
Okay, great. So my experience relating to identity happened several years ago. And it happened when I was in college and I just completed my university course, and I was seeking a leadership path. Typical options, you know, either it's for-profit or non-profit. So I had established a very relatively successful nonprofit organization on campus. So I understood how to write the grants. I understood how to mobilize, how to organize. On the business side of things, because I was involved in campus advocacy, a lot of businesses started to collaborate with my social nonprofit organization. And I was able to secure extensive credit lines to get the business off the ground. But the idea of just making money for bottom line wasn't something that resonated. And also just in nonprofit work, because it sounds like the amazing thing to do that has no purpose and meaning, wasn't that something that resonated. So I sought the help of a mentor. And in our very first conversation, and I told them this identity crisis, professional identity crisis I was going through. And she said, if you want to make money and if you want to help people, you are a social entrepreneur. And that was my first experience of identity strategy. Having someone come into my life to help crystallize what my professional identity strategy was. 6 months after that competition, the corporation of Microsoft's, the CSR program, Microsoft Unlimited Potential, was sponsoring or investing heavily into social entrepreneurship. And there was a global business plan competition. I applied for that program. I was successful, and it was life changing. And I came into America and also started leading all this nonprofit and social enterprises. I can trace it back to one conversation I had with this individual that helped crystallize what my professional identity was. What I realized from that conversation was my professional competence is secondary to my professional identity. That I am not what I do, it is who I am that gives validity to what I do. So before I go into creating my website or writing my business plan or exploring professional or business opportunity, it is important that I have a strategy about my identity. Once that is done, then I can have an effective branding or communication or marketing or storytelling. So that is my story and journey towards me serving as identity strategy and helping people go through this process of really defining the core of who they are and making what they do become secondary.
That's good. That's good. See, and when I was as you were talking, I was thinking at first when I started my business, I didn't even think about identity strategy. And I think for most small business owners, that's not the thing you think about. Like it sounds good, but it's like, okay, identity strategy. I need identity strategy. The most for small business owners is I need a website. I need a logo. I need, get my business license. I just want to be up online. And if I know, or if I knew what I did, what I know now, I definitely would have hired, I would have had a mentor. I would have had someone who does identity strategy, like identity strategists. I definitely need it. And I want to share with you guys the importance of it. Not me saying the importance, but Mr. Gbenga, who has experience with this, and that is what he does on a day-to-day basis. And so as you're watching this, guys, I want you to take notes, take this information. Mr. Gbenga, go to his website. We have this here, connect with him because it is so important. And as you were saying, I thought about, for myself, when I first started, I just didn't want to work for nobody else. So my thought was I really wanted to grab my skill set, compile it together, and make a product to service people, to create something that I wanted to see. So later, hey, thank you for coming on. As you're coming on, please let us know where you're watching from, and also like and share. And at first, later on, as I began working, I'm like, wow, my identity is more of teaching. It's more of, I have a passion to train. I have a passion of education. That's when the technology workshops began to come. That's when, the neutral colors of the logo. And that's when later I began to really, that's the identity strategy again. I began to like, okay, this is me. This is who I am. I love to teach. That's where the workshops began to come. That's when the webinars, getting workbooks published and all of that great stuff. So, but it didn't come till later. So what would be your advice to someone who later is in it? Like, I might need to go in another direction. What would your advice be to them?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I say to our community and the people that we serve, like a recurring theme that resonates with a lot of people, is this idea that multi-talented people are usually the most conflicted because they have a ton of opportunities. And those opportunities, instead of becoming an asset, end up becoming their liabilities and their burden.
Yes.
So now the burden now becomes, of all the several opportunities, which one of these should I commit my resources, my passion, my time? And that is a question I get asked almost every day. And my response is that rather than trying to explore, figure out which of these opportunities, what is of importance is to find one's core, is to find one's identity. And one's identity, you can use several words. It could be your core passion, it could be your core strength that you said yours happened to be the gift of teaching. And once you find that core, your core purpose, your core strength in itself is multidimensional and it has multiple streams of expression. And that is how we get into monetization phase of identity. Now, when we say monetization, we're looking at 3 I's, which is income, impact, and influence. So whether your passion, it's all about change making, making a difference in the world, or whether it's just expanding your own sphere of influence or expanding your streams of income, those things become an outlet for the expression of your identity. So what I would say for anyone who has a passion to go start their business, I would ask them to take a little bit of a me time and really try to get to, how do I find my core strength? How do I find my core gift, my calling, my passion? Because those things might sound cliche. Really, not only does it allow us to properly harness our human capital, our talent, our resources, but in executing that one passion, it always culminate into multiple outlet streams of income and opportunities. For example, you had said you have this passion in teaching, which is now culminating into webinars. We're having this conversation today, into your workshops, into your branding services.
Yes.
Oftentimes, it becomes a burden when we flip the process. So we go after those byproduct of, I want to do this, I want to do that. I think it's all about this idea of being versus doing. And that is how we get into our core. It comes so natural. Now, there is this definition I really love about mentors or coaches. It says that a mentor is someone who sees in you more than what you see in yourself and has the power to bring it out of you. So oftentimes we are being blessed with these amazing relationships who really understand and get us at a core level. And they can say, Bernice, that is not you. You are way more than what you're doing right now. Have you considered opening your business? Have you considered stepping out? Those relationships become catalysts. So I was in this crossroads, right? I have this international organization. I have all these opportunities. I was literally around opportunities. But in those opportunities became my greatest problems. And in one conversation, them just saying, this is who you are, and I gave myself permission to be that person, it accelerated me to thought leadership. And I literally was one of the 1% of my own field at a very early age of my career. And so the website that was listed earlier is globalgoinc.com. And if you go to the stories section, you would read stories of all these amazing people who have had aspiration of what they want to do in their life. And those things became aspirational. But the instance they got into the core of who they are and they gave themselves permission, almost overnight, the identity flipped and transitioned 360. And they really found themselves in the position where people are literally now saying, how much do I pay you to have a conversation with you? Now going from a pro bono all-stars to becoming someone actually being rewarded for just being themselves. So I think that is the greatest thing that can really happen to anyone, to get into that core and really honing their own strength and their own identity. But obviously with the help of the relationships that we might have, whether they be accountability partners or coaches or mentors, I would say start from there and let that be the foundation in which you build your business or your personal brand.
Awesome. And I just want to add as well, once you understand who you are, it's perfect when you get your website built. Like you understand, like I could tell the difference with a client that has no clue versus a client who understands where they are. The client who does not have not any clue, that's they tend to look at someone else's website and say, this is how I want it done. They're going off somebody else's identity. I want it to look like this. I want it to function like this, versus someone says, you know what? I need to be creating this products, and I need you to put this products here. I need, so that because my greatest strength, because they understand my greatest strength is teaching. So I want my teaching manuals to be the headliner of my website. So when someone goes to it, this is who I am. They need to see this right here. It's a difference. And so what we're sharing tonight, I see a couple more people got on. Please let us know where you're coming in from. Say hello. Comment where you're watching from. We're talking about with Mr. Gbenga Global Go Inc. and myself with Loma Creative Services. We're discussing the importance of, thank you. She said, yes, you are correct. Did that. And you kindly guided me to my vision for my own website. Thank you so much. Yes, because yes, you did. She's like, I can use, she sent me a link. Can you give me this? I can, but that's them. Who are you? Who are your people? Who are you called? Who, like you mentioned, Mr. Gbenga, who are the people that you're called to serve? Who are you? What's your calling? And also I find that with design, colors are so important as well as it relates to who you are as well, and as well as your target audience. Colors. We did a workshop Saturday, and it was for the youth branding workshop. We did this for youth ages 9 to 17, and they got to look at the different colors. But I didn't ask them to choose colors based on what they liked. They actually had to see the mood colors, had to see what colors were the colors based on brand identity, based on their customers, what their customers like. And so as we relate that to website design, as we relate it to flyers, all of that plays in part of identity strategy. Tell us a little bit what you think about colors, Mr. Gbenga.
Well, as I said, the core focus of our work is the identity component. Mm-hmm. So having done that, we collaborate with those whose mission is on the design and really breathe life into the vision that they may have. Yes. My recommendation specifically has to do with colors. This, when I created, my personal brand, I worked with an expert that I gave 100% trust and autonomy over the design in terms of creative perspective, creative speaking. And the thing I first did was whatever images or ideas that I thought I had leading up until now, as it really translated into the result I want. If the answer is no, let me allow this expert individual actually give expression to what they actually hear today. And that is where articulation comes about. So a lot of people know what they want, but we don't have the vocabulary to articulate it. Whether it is creatively speaking, whether it is speaking in a digital platform. Now, once we collaborate with individuals or with professionals around our own power network to help articulate our message, articulate our brand, articulate our professional identity, then we can see color comes into our own new different perspective. So I've seen a lot of cases where clients started with a particular color in mind. And over time that changed. It was a very vulnerable experience for some people. And it's like, okay, you would have to understand that once you work with a professional, your brand is the perception of people about you. Your identity is your own perception of yourself. Now, once you do the first foundational work of laying down your identity strategy, you have to hand that over to a professional that major and specializes in that, and let them help you tell that story.
Say that again. You got people like, nah, I want it like this. I want it. That's when trust comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
I want it like this.
Yeah, let them help you tell that story. Sometimes we're not the best messenger for our own message, but it doesn't still release us from the responsibility of the message. However, the platforms and the distribution of that content, we have to trust expertise in that area, that people would have those to help us echo or amplify a message. So I would say work and trust your brand specialist, your design consultant, your coach, your mentor, and have them be the one to tell you. What I've found that about this process, again, it's all about articulation. Sometimes there's certain things that we want because it's in our mind, we haven't seen it. Immediately someone brings it to life. We go, yes, that is it. Yes, thank you. I don't know how to say it. How do you just help me, articulate this? So once that process is done, then we actually see the message resonate more with our tribe.
That's good. Someone says, "Hi, Mr. Marvin. Love it. Thanks." Great. Anybody got any questions? Any comments? We'll be wrapping this up soon.
And one thing I wanted to say while we wait for the questions to come in, Ms. Bernice, is back again to the question or the strategies for designing or architecting one identity leading to the creation of the website. So oftentimes I get asked the question, how do I find my core? How do I find my core purpose, my core passion, my core strength? So you were able to identify your gift as teaching. I would assume that there could be or might be other competing gifts that over the time you have to have certain level of awareness and clarity and say, no, this is the core of it all. Mm-hmm. Now, the very simple recommendation I would give the audience for that is this. If I were to take you out of your current 9-to-5 today, and if you thought because you have a business, you are exempted, no. It happens in business. For some reason, the business wouldn't go as you have planned, and you have to, turn off the lights. You can keep the lights on. Mm-hmm. And then it's, and for some reason, your business or your 9-to-5 becomes questionable in terms of continuity of that. Or even if I took you away from your current location right now, mm-hmm. and relocate you to a country where you don't speak their language, what is one gift you have you can survive on? I'm not saying you can build an empire or build a business or build something massive. I'm talking about survival, and this is what I call survival skill. So just think at the level of survival. What one skill do I have today? If I lose my 9-to-5, if a customer wouldn't ring the number to call in to ask for my services, if I find myself in a new location, I don't speak their language, I have to rely on my survival skills. What is that skill? That would be an indication to what your core strength is. That is what I want you to build your website around, and you will see how it evolves into multiple streams of income and products and services.
Yes. Now that's good. Who wants to type? What's your strength? Now that's a good question. And two, I like to add that even with that specific call, you can build products on so many products to dissect that. So for instance, say if, as we're on the subject about teaching, say teaching is your strength. So your products can be lined up not just with one product It can be teaching in audio. It can be teaching products in video. It can be teaching in different languages. It can be teaching different levels of webinars. Is so many. It's so many ways that you could take your strength and create so many products from that, so that when you do, others who do have your 9 to 5, if something like Mr. Gbenga asked, or like he said, if you were to not have your 9 to 5, then what? So you keep in mind that you have that strength and that you can create products. You can create some product on your website, as we're talking about website design, that will allow you to maximize your calling. All right. Anybody got any questions? Anybody got any comments? I'm so glad we're talking about this. I am so glad.
So the question I would have for you, Ms. Bernice, is what would you say to people who might be thinking, why do I even need my own website?
Why not? I get that. And the questions that question that usually comes from a person who only relies on social media. They feel that their brand has already been built through Facebook, which, I use Facebook. We're using it now, and it is okay, but it's not. I do not recommend that as a main source for your brand, only because you want full control. You want control, and your website will allow you to have that control. You can own your domain. A lot of people don't realize that your domain can be business property as well. That's ownership. That's your business ownership, versus you can't say when it's time to sell your business, or when it's time to, have a list of the things that you own for your business. You can't say I own facebook.com/ your business name, and it will allow you to maneuver your brand. You get to, when you have a, identity strategist, you hire someone as Gbenga to assist you with that. He can create the colors. He can create the different strategy that you will need for your website, for your brand as a whole. And with that, you can't do that with Facebook. You can't do that with Instagram. You can't do that with other platforms. And that's why it's so important that you have your own. That's your own. That's your ownership. You get to maneuver how you want your own brand. So that's my answer. Yeah. It's ownership. It's ownership.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
Because like with Facebook, for instance, like you can do some changes of your cover page, and you can change your About Us page, and you're adding your website link and different links and stuff to let people know that it is you. You change your URL, but they're still the same. It's the same blue. You have a different color cover page, but it's the same blue, because that's what Facebook brand. And so what you're doing is, you are not just Facebook, Instagram, different others. What you're doing, if you don't use your own website, you're helping other companies build their brand. So as you're sharing, you're helping. Same for if we're using any Yahoo, if we're using AOL or any type of email address. When you share, they see that brand versus your own domain and your domain email. That is your brand. So it's the same. It's the same concept. Is if you have another website, then you're supporting that brand and not 100% of your brand.
Wow, that's amazing. Thanks for that. I really like the idea about ownership.
Ownership. Mm-hmm.
That's great. And from a personal branding perspective, I've literally seen people who, because my background, is in nonprofit industry, social enterprise, I've seen a lot of people who have done great work as a pro bono consultant, and they didn't own their website. And the minute they gave themselves permission to own their own strength, their own story, their own identity, and created a website, They literally went from doing everything for free to going 6 figures and even sometimes 7 figures, just because they hone their own identity. And the basic expression of that is creating a website in your name, on your brand or business names. And that is literally wealth creation.
Say that again. It is wealth creation. I love that. Let me type that in there. Yes, that is what it is. Exactly what it is. There it is. Wealth creation. Anybody else? Well, it was great chatting with you. I see a couple more people on. If you guys are on and want to share a little bit about what you do, here's some ways that you can connect with Mr. Gbenga through his website as well. That's correct? GlobalGo.inc?
The globalgoinc.com.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. GlobalGoinc.com.
Yes.
All right. There it is, guys. There it is. All right. Anybody got any questions while we're on? I see a couple more people on. Let us know if you got any. You're okay with taking a couple questions, Mr. Gbenga?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
This was great. We got to do this again.
Yes. Thanks for bringing me to this platform and having this conversation.
You are welcome. I mean, it's a conversation that someone says, I'm already there. It's a conversation that is a must. So it's already there. Terrell Dickerson. Awesome. Anybody else want to have a question, comment? Please feel free. Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Gbenga?
Well, I was just thinking if maybe we can talk about stories, from both Go Global and Lawman Services about maybe, like the woman that you helped through creating the website, how that process went. And, and what was that aha moment where, said, this is it. And yeah.
Okay. There's a question though. You see that question?
Okay, I see the question.
Do you feel Facebook is a great transition to a website?
Well, social media, I think, is integral to your website strategy. Yeah. And they're not mutually exclusive. And, social media, I would recommend become the distribution outlet for your website.
Mm-hmm.
As an opportunity. Yeah. So I would say social media becomes a distribution outlet for your personal website or for your business website. From a thought leadership perspective, you want to tell your story on your website. You want to tell and showcase your expertise and your content on your website, and utilize Facebook and Instagram in the distribution of that content through social media. So it's not as if we can say, should I do social media? Should I do this? So I think they are both integral. And social media as well is a great tool, for the optimization, for the SEO of your website. So all of that helps,
especially
to
Facebook
visibility, especially Facebook.
Facebook and Google Plus.
I would also strongly advocate for LinkedIn, especially now the publishing tool. And the publishing tool used to be exclusive, for those who are LinkedIn influencers. And these are like award-winning, best-selling authors, thought leaders. But now it's literally at a disposal. I write for the Huffington Post. And sometimes you will see my article first on LinkedIn if you search for them. Sometimes even before the ranking comes up on the Huffington Post. So I would definitely recommend LinkedIn as well. So all of this help increase the visibility of the website.
Yes, but always, still, regardless if you're using LinkedIn, Facebook, any other, the of the social platforms, please connect your website, add your website so that if they want to find more about you, they can go to your website. They can be led to your website. And when they're led to your website, they not only see that article that you read, that you wrote, or that blog, but they can see other services that you offer. You may have upcoming events. They may see, oh, I love this product, or I love this article, I love this blog, but you may have a product related to that blog, or you may have an upcoming event that give them thorough more information. And that you can't find all over the place on social media, but you have that one home, which is your website, that can guide and have everything that they need to know.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Great. Anybody else? So the answer is yes. A website is the go. Definitely. We're talking about, if you're just getting on, we're talking about the importance of identity strategy before website design, and the importance of it. You are welcome. Thank you for your question. Anybody else? And it's from Charlotte too. Awesome. All right. Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Gbenga?
Oh, I was reading the questions on the screen.
Okay. I think that was earlier. I put that on there. Yes, you're correct. That it kind of, yeah. Oh, to answer your question, what she mentioned about guiding her through the vision of the website, that was your question. When I do a consultation with someone, I don't like to hear this is what I want. They go back and look at someone else's. For one, it takes away from creativity of your identity, and how that person created was based on, like you were saying, Mr. Gbenga, it was based on their identity, what colors, as it relates to the colors, as it relates to the products, as it relates to even the pictures. And what I love to do when I connect with them, I want to know a little bit about them. I want to know, that's where the identity is, where the identity comes in. Of course, you the professional on that end, so I'm going to connect with you on that one. But I get enough information as it relates to the website design and a little bit about them, so that not only about them, but their customers. That's important. Who's going to be looking at your website? How many people are going to be attracted to it versus, like, for instance, let me give you an example. Not too long ago, I had a gentleman. He wanted to do photography for both male and female, but he wanted a website related to the colors that he likes, which is blue. And I said, well, if you're trying to do photography on both lady and female and male, you may want to reconsider your color, because us ladies, we do like light. We do like, hi, Miss Tilda says great information. Coach Tilda, we like red. We like, we like pink. We like those different gold, purple. And so I was able to talk to him and share some insight with him, because sometimes, as any business owner, not just the male, but us ladies, sometimes we tend to want to do it around how we feel, what we like, the colors that we like, and what we're attracted to, and not taking in consideration of the people that are actually, who are we going to be teaching to. Like, for instance, my colors is neutral. I like it like that, because I cater to both male and female as it relates to young and older adults. And so I like to, somebody says, I feel that the designer must give the client what they want. It's not about the web designer. I would like to say this, Terrell. Yes and no. It's not about what the designer, it's about taking the professionalism. It's about taking the advice of a professional versus I just want this. Of course, if you're paying your money for something, then of course you should get what you want. But also, if you're going to give someone any time, any of your money, and say, this is what I want, you wouldn't just give your money to someone and not trust their expertise in something. There is a point where when you do consult, it's about a consultation. And when you're consulting and you're in that consultation, you're getting feedback from that professional. You're getting information from them, and you're trusting them to give you the information that's going to take you, like Mr. Gbenga mentioned, telling your story. And so what happens is a lot of times you say, I want this, but not really understanding all that you want and not understanding the importance of, like we're on today, the importance of identity strategy before that website design. And it's beyond that this is what I want and just give me what I want. It's sharing. You're going to take your website or want to take your website further than where you are now. It's about not just now in 2017. It's about, she says, true. It's about trusting that person that you have, and that they've given you that consultation. It's about taking that from here and moving forward. Of course, you don't want, and I find this too, Mr. Gbenga probably have heard this too. I've seen this where you give a person something and this is what I want, and then later they come back and say, oh, I'm moving forward now. I kind of transition now. I'm growing now. I need to revamp. I need to revamp. Look, Mr. Gbenga, like this, I've seen this, but it's like, but this is what you want, but this is what I see. I'm not seeing right now. I'm seeing where you're going to go. Bernice say that I'm hiring to get your feedback and take it to another level. 2 thumbs up. Blessing to using you and yours. Oh, awesome. Yes, do-overs. And so you don't want to just pay your money for now. You want to pay your money for to come. You want to make sure that it's lasting, not just now, but for to come. And so that's with any type of your brand. Is for not just your website. I mean, your logo. Certain people could get created logos and it's just right now what they want and not really seeing their vision. And that's why a vision statement is so important. Having a vision, having your mission, keeping that in mind and making sure all that ties into what you're trying to do.
No,
what do you think, Ms. Gbenga?
Absolutely. I cannot disagree. I cannot agree more. The very first foundational step that I take clients through is this 360 panoramic perspective of their brand. Awesome. And actually go through the entirety of their personal brand and try to understand the various facets that makes up this idea, this story, this concept. What aspect are we not fully unearthing or exploring? Having done that, that gives us a wealth of information, even way beyond what the client walked through the door at initial consultation saying they might need. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a life coach, I understand most of the time when clients have conversation, they're focused mainly on the symptoms and not so much of the root cause or what the issue might be. Whether it is something positive or not so positive, there's always, most of the time we are reactive, to symptoms, and rather than get to the core. The same applies to design. The same applies to strategy. So once we have a 360 panoramic perspective, then we can get to the core. And that is when we can tell a cohesive story. So most of the people I speak to, they tell me I have a ton of opportunities. These are talented people. These are achievers. These are leaders in their own rights. But most of the times, those opportunities are somewhat drifting them farther from their fulfillment, from their aspiration. Again, they might actually be making some levels of professional success, but does it really brings that cohesion? Does it
Tell the
really
story.
does it really tell my own story that resonates with who I am? I think that is where we need that expertise. There is no way I would have been able to identify myself as a social entrepreneur several years ago without that conversation. I would identify as a nonprofit leader, and I had a ton of successes in nonprofit work. But with that conversation, them saying this is who you are, I saw an acceleration happen in literally in a couple of months. And I was at the thought leadership of my own space in my own industry. But I didn't even have the articulation for what I want. And the same applies to majority of the people we serve, including ourselves. We often struggle with that vocabulary to articulate our story and identity and really the core of what we want. And certain people that are considered to be our tribe, they get us at a DNA level. We share the same identity, the same perspective, the same values, the same goals. And these are the people that can give a detached perspective and say, this is what my professional perspective of where I think you're going. And once they get it right, we would know, yes, this is exactly it. This is exactly what I was saying. So I think that professional perspective is of utmost importance.
Awesome. Anybody else? This is good. This is good. So we're about to wrap it up. Do you have anything that you want to just end with, Mr. Gbenga? This is your website. I got that here.
Yes, I would definitely recommend that people check out the stories section. There are stories of the clients that we've worked with, those who, started from the status of, I'm trying to find clarity. What is my purpose? What is my next career move? How do I make this goal? How do I scale this business? And all those goals were very aspirational for them. Some of them literally would say, it's going to take me a lifetime to accomplish this goal. And the moment, the instant they alter their perspectives, their own perception of their own identity, of their own brand, they actually saw that those aspirations were actually reality already. It's not something aspirational. They're actually living it, but they can't just see it. They kept having this perspective that is going to happen one day. But really, in actuality, they are really walking in that aspiration now. So we've done some work of telling their stories of the levels of awareness and stages and transformation, and also the ascension of their own personal brand. Some of them come from community of faith. Some of them come from fashion. Some of them come from entrepreneurship. Some of them come from overseas. Different cultures. So we try to express various perspective in those stories. I definitely recommend those stories really as a starting point, so people can actually have a picture of what we are talking about and the struggles, the shared struggles that we all have, and how people have been able to overcome those just by altering their own perception of who they are.
Awesome. All right, guys.
And this will be found under the stories section of the website. So to be globalgoinc.com/stories.
All right, guys. And this is where you can connect with me on my website, lomacreativeservices.com. And as we were discussing before, all the info is there. So all the social network links and check it out, our upcoming events, everything that we have on there. Please connect with us there. We have live chat if you want to chat with any of our professionals. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching us. Thank you for commenting, liking, and sharing. Thank you guys. You've been great. Thank you, Mr. Gbenga. We got to do this again.
Yes, we should. And thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be on this call today and look forward to more collaborations like this.
Awesome. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Welcome.